It is 3:22 in the morning, and I cannot sleep. This is an American rite of passage. It is my first night as an American parent where I cannot sleep because I am just afraid of gun violence and the impact it will have on my children and my family. I actually am re-recording this beginning part because the audio got kind of messed up. I don't really remember exactly what I said in the first part of what I recorded, but I do remember that I showed this little chart right here. And this chart is a lot like the stock market. You know, you might read the headline that active shooter incidents in the US have declined slightly in recent years, but it kind of feels like the number keeps going up. It's like, you know, the Dow Jones here. You got the Dow Jones and you're like, oh, it's going down. Oh, wait, it's going up. You know, it goes up and down, through the good, through the bad, through the scary, through the not scary. Kind of feels like it's the same thing with gun violence. Obviously, you know, kind of limited sample size if you're just looking from 2000. But let's be real, it just goes up. This is America. Guns just continue to be used as a vehicle of death in this country. The number just keeps going up. The fear just keeps on continuing to amplify. So I thought out some very carefully worded bullet points. I'm being a little bit sarcastic in saying this for this video because ultimately I wanted to have some form of structure, I guess. So yeah, this is just what I'm seeing on my other monitor. But back to my beautiful, 2:30 in the morning face here. The first bullet point on my list is that I'm afraid of my kids getting shot. I'm for reference, I guess, I'm 30 years old. I believe, in first grade, 6 years old when 9/11 happened. Pretty young. I don't really remember much of it. And today I was really, after, obviously, this is in the wake of Charlie Kirk being shot and killed. And I have my opinions on him. I'm sure a lot of people have their opinions on him. I'm really trying my best to practice restraint and to not talk about how I feel about him specifically or what he stands for. I really just want this to be a video about gun violence. And yeah, I'm afraid of my kids getting shot. I lived through 9/11. I lived through Sandy Hook. I think I lived through Columbine. I don't know. A lot of shootings. It's kind of hard to keep track of all of them. Parkland, Sandy Hook, Pulse nightclub, Uvalde. I mean, there are a lot of big ones, but I think this is really the first major shooting or really even major political event in my adult lifetime that I could really compare to what I feel is the magnitude of 9/11. I was saying that on my group chats today, and that's another thing, like group chats, you kind of know things are bad when people are leaving group chats over current events. Like, people can't handle being in a group chat, whatever the people might be saying in the group chat, but some people are leaving group chats because it's like, today it's just too much for me right now. I feel like that's not a usual thing, no matter how crazy things get in American politics or American life. In one of these group chats, I'm talking about how I really feel like this is a day we will remember like 20 years from now, more so than January 6th or October 7th or Sandy Hook or a lot of these other seemingly really consequential days in American history. At least for me, this is a day I think I will always remember. I guess technically it's 9/11 now, but it was September 10th, 2025 was the day that Charlie Kirk was murdered. And I think it's really because that struck a fear into me that I've never really felt before. I've always been, I shouldn't say always, but I've spent much of my life afraid of gun violence. I've looked at all the exits in movie theaters as I've gone into them. I remember in high school, we had a couple of lockdowns where I don't know if it was like even a shooter drill, but just the school was locked down. I think one of the times we had a lockdown, there was like a meth lab that got busted across the street, and we were afraid. I don't really know what the danger was, but we were afraid. And I remember being afraid, and I'm like, I mean, that what do you have to be afraid of in that situation compared to a situation where someone is on your school property with an assault rifle trying to kill people? And yeah, I mean, like, I am afraid of that. I'm afraid of my family suffering from gun violence. I'm afraid of myself being a victim. Like, I'm not under the impression that someone's gonna pop out from the bushes and just pick me off tomorrow as I'm walking down the street. But it's just something that I have to think about that I wish I didn't have to think about, especially as someone who holds an Irish passport. I just find myself constantly questioning, what am I still doing here? Why am I in America? I mean, I have family, I have friends, I have a house, I have a lot of things to be happy about and grateful for. But is all of that worth the fear that comes as kind of the other side of that coin and the risk of being impacted by gun violence in a more direct way than the countless ways that we've been affected by gun violence in more, kind of microscopic ways, I guess. And going back to what I was saying about today being so consequential, I feel like it's just one of those days. You combine a celebrity death with a school shooting, plus the fact that like you can see it happen on camera. It's just, it's really an unthinkable thing. I mean, like, I don't know what it is that is preventing me from falling asleep. Maybe it's the kind of image I have in my head of Charlie Kirk dying. Maybe it's just the fear of that happening to someone I know in the future, whether that's the short-term future, the long-term future, whatever. I feel really bad for not just, I try not to make this about Charlie Kirk. I'm really like, I feel for his family, but I don't feel any extra grief for his family because he's a celebrity. He wasn't the only one that got killed at a school today. At least I'm pretty sure. I know that the Colorado shooting that also happened the same day, the gunman killed himself, and then I think one of the victims is in like critical condition, which I should know this. I used to work in like for a conservative TV station, but pretty sure critical condition is basically like you're gonna die. Knock on wood, I hope that person doesn't die, but that's kind of the like on death's doorstep, I think is what they say. All that to say, it's not that I don't feel for Charlie Kirk's family, but like it's weird to me that there is such an outpouring of grief over this specific event. It's not the first example of a school shooting happening this week, this month. It's not the first example of political violence happening this year. There are just so many crazy shootings. I didn't even mention Vegas earlier. Like Vegas, it's crazy to think that some dude just barricaded himself in a hotel room and just mowed down dozens of people. It's where are you safe in America? You're not safe in a movie theater. You're not safe at a concert. You're not safe at school. You're not safe in a public place. Like, you're safe in your house. And I feel like that's one thing a lot of Americans are starting to reckon with is like, do I just lock my kid in my house for 18 years so that I don't have to live with this fear? Because the only other option is leaving, right? And not a lot of people actually want to leave. There's a part of my brain that's like, it'd be great to get out of here. But like, do I actually want to leave? Do I want to move and put everyone and everything in my life behind me? Like, I don't know. That feels like a lot. I'm afraid of my kids getting shot, though. Like, I guess, I don't know. That's just something that doesn't feel like it's going to go away anytime soon. It's crazy to feel this way, but I really feel like today is the safest I will feel about my kids in school in the next 10, 15 years. What is going to change that is going to make my kids statistically more safe in a school or give me more peace of mind about my kids being safe in a school? I don't see what changes. No, there's no political motivation on either side to actually do something about what's happening. I actually had a moment of like naive optimism today that was like, maybe today will be the day. It was one of those moments. Like I got out of a podcast right after the shooting happened. I checked my phone. I was like, oh my gosh. And like the second I looked at my phone, one of my buddies called me and we were on the phone for an hour talking. I just won't forget like that conversation. I won't forget what today was like. It's just one of those days that I won't forget. And I haven't had a lot of those days that I won't forget. And I just like, I don't even know. I'm sorry, it's like late at night and I have so many feelings about this and I'm trying not to wake anyone up. I don't know how to feel about this. I'm just scared. I don't want my kids to die and I don't want to live in fear. Number 2 bullet point. I'm afraid of spending the next 20 years in constant fear of gun violence. This is night 1. Like, what is going to happen after the next big celebrity or influencer gets picked off? Am I going to feel more safe or less safe? What is it going to take for people in this country to actually care about victims of gun violence? Again, I try not to make this about Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk's a dude who would just go around and say that like, oh, well, guns aren't really the problem. People can believe that if they want, and I'm not here to lecture people on what the issues are, but it doesn't feel like this is going to go away. It doesn't feel like this can go away when you have so many people that are saying that this isn't an issue. While the number just continues to go up, again, maybe not every single year in succession, but it's like the stock market. It's going up. It's going in that zigzag line up, but it's going up. It's not going down. It's not going down. And by the way, we're introducing more and more guns to the system. How do you fix that? I'm terrified. I'm terrified of spending the next 20 years of my life in constant fear of gun violence. I can tolerate the fear of being picked off myself. I can tolerate the fear of my wife being picked off, I think, maybe, or family members. But my kids, like, I'm a stay-at-home dad. Maybe not Charlie Kirk's target demographic. I look at my kid's face for 12 hours a day, pretty much 12 hours a day straight. I just look into my kid's face. I see her eyes, and like, I just don't want to lose my kids, you know? Like, man, I didn't think I was gonna cry. I mean, I don't want to lose anyone, you know? But, like, what's all of this for? If I were to lose my kid, you know? This guy's kids lost him. You know? Like, they're not gonna have him. They're not gonna have him. And they're gonna grow up and they're gonna see videos of their dad saying that, you know, basically gun violence isn't an issue. Some gun deaths are necessary because of our principles. Again, I don't want to make this about Charlie Kirk or American politics, but at what point do we say some things are more important than principles? What do we define as a preventable death if we can't even admit that gun violence is preventable? Not to mention, again, I don't want to get super into politics, but it's like, dude, I'm a taxpayer. Like, what percentage of my tax money is just going to manufacturing and distributing guns? Whether it's to police, whether it's to our military, whether it's to our allies, or whether it's to our enemies in some weird, like, deep undercover CIA op or whatever. It feels like a lot of our money is just getting siphoned into violence. Being an American taxpayer is not just allowing this to happen, but creating this violence. You give a bad guy a knife and you give him a green light to go kill as many people as he can kill in 5 minutes, and he's not killing as many people as the dude in Vegas who's just parked up in that hotel room. You can't kill as many people that have died in Palestine or Israel or Russia or Ukraine, any side of any war, Sudan, South Sudan, any of these countries that are fighting with American arms. How many people have been killed by American manufactured bullets this year? I don't know. I doubt we track that, but it's like, I don't want to feel responsible for that, you know? I don't want to be responsible for it. Okay, sorry, I'm kind of dragging now, I feel like. Bullet point number 3. I'm afraid of this fear going away as gun violence continues to skyrocket. I think I'm more afraid of that than bullet point number 2. The fear is one thing, but the apathy that we build towards this gun violence is terrifying. Just this idea that you can just sleep it off after a couple nights and all of a sudden you're kind of reset and gun violence is normal again until the next big mass shooting. And it's like, that's the thing, is today is such an interesting example of like, do you think, and I'm asking you, the viewer here, and feel free to let me know in the comments, do you think that Colorado shooting, and here, let me even pull it up, like I'll just pull up a headline, like, do you think this is front page news if Charlie Kirk doesn't get shot today? I don't think it is. And forget politics. Like, I know there was actually a bunch of like Epstein stuff with Trump. The first thing I saw on my feed before I refreshed and saw the gun stuff was like Chuck Schumer doing something about Epstein. I don't know. I didn't get far into the article. This is literally like an article about a guy, question mark, maybe killed one person and then took himself out. That's kind of it. Like, this wouldn't have, I just don't think this would have even made the, like, yes, there would have been an article about it. I don't think it would have even made the news if Charlie Kirk doesn't get picked off that day. Because it's just, oh, we're talking about school shootings, why don't we throw another one in there? Like, there are a lot of worse shootings than that Colorado shooting that don't make the front page all the time. There've been like 40-something, 50-something mass shootings this year. A dude killing, question mark, maybe one person and injuring, I think, 2 other people. It's scary. Like, it's something that still scares me. But like, that's not front page news most of the time. And that's what's scary. The fact that this happens so much more than it even feels like it happens. And it feels like it happens a lot. And today it feels like it happens a lot more than it felt like it was happening 10 years ago. And 10 years ago, it felt like it was happening a lot more than 20 years ago. Like, I showed you the graph, the numbers keep going up, but with the numbers, with the actual violence, comes the magnification of that fear of violence. There aren't as many of those kind of periods of not feeling that fear, I guess, or maybe not even not feeling that fear. Maybe that fear is always there, but just kind of that like apathy or indifference or protection that we create for ourselves against that fear. That, like, let me just try to focus on real life again for a minute before I see another headline about a shooting. I'm afraid of this becoming it scares me that there's some mechanism in my brain, and really like in everyone's brain in America, that just turns on after a mass shooting, and then it's like, yeah, maybe I have one sleepless night, but then tomorrow night I sleep fine and I don't worry about it until the next time it happens. That scares me. My therapist was talking about how basically humans evolved to have this like instinctual fear of bad things happening. You'd rather be scared of something that isn't there than not be scared when the tiger's in the bushes and staring right at you and the tiger just comes and eats you. Like, you want to be afraid that the tiger's in the bushes even when the tiger is not in the bushes, because it's a form of protection. And when you become desensitized to that, you're more vulnerable and susceptible. I don't know. I mean, I don't really know. Getting shot, how prepared can you even be for it? Like, I don't know. I guess unless you're walking around with an AK, and I'm not gonna go to militia training to like like I don't think that having a gun makes you more safe. If a guy breaks into your house and has a gun, is it safer to try to shoot at the dude, or is it safer to just run away and not make noise? Like, I'm taking option B on that one. Call me whatever names you want to call me for that, but I think real men run away for the sake of their family. Number 4, I'm afraid of how desensitized I am to all of this. Like I said, like, I feel like I'm already kind of desensitized. I had like a moment of teariness, right? And now I'm back to this. It's like, I'm scared, but I gotta wake up tomorrow and be a dad again. It's scary to think that like things just go back to normal as quickly as they go back to normal. You see a video of a guy just getting a bullet right here, blood like squirting out on a freaking school campus. This guy Parker get a job. He posted a video like on some social media feed. This dude, like, in case you don't know who he is, he's basically this like liberal guy who shows up at these Charlie Kirk like college debate events and kind of like antagonistically tries to debate him. They're both just trying to own each other. This dude has been going to a lot of these Charlie Kirk events, and he was at the college today in Utah. He said he was like 30 to 40 feet away, and just, I'm telling you, go like find that video. You can probably find it, especially like with more time passing, you might be able to find it better. The dude was like 30 to 40 feet away from Charlie Kirk, and you can just like, there's something you see in his eyes when you watch him talk about it. I'm a pretty big like nihilist cynic. Like, whenever people post things like that and it's like, oh my gosh, I was in the proximity of a shooting, there's a part of me that's always like, it's a little bit self-serving of you to like kind of post that when you're posting it and like have those emotions. There's a part of me that always kind of believes that people are playing it up or faking it a little bit. Dude, I'm telling you, that guy, you could just see in his eyes, he was like scared. The fact that people will wake up tomorrow, life as usual, it scares me. It makes me worry about the type of person I'm becoming and what I'm becoming desensitized to. It wasn't that long ago that whenever people were getting shot up, whether in schools or in public or whatever, we were saying that, oh, violent video games have really desensitized all these young people, which I think is just a dumb boomer argument. But I will say, we are definitely desensitized. I don't really know what did it. Maybe it was video games. Maybe it's the fact that people are getting picked off all the time in our country by guns. Maybe that actually is part of it. And I think that also not seeing it for so long makes it desensitizing. It's real when you see it. When you see a video of a dude getting killed on camera and dying in front of your eyes. Again, I wasn't 30 or 40 feet away, but you see the video, and before you knew he was dead, you knew he was dead. My wife's a nurse. I was texting my wife. She's like, yeah, he's either a vegetable or he's dead. You just know the way that his body just crumples, the blood squirting out. It's terrifying. I haven't really seen a lot of people die. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen someone die in person. I don't know how many videos I've seen of people dying. And I grew up in that generation where like Live Leak was big and all this stuff. It's scary to see another human being die. I don't know how to feel about all of this. I feel like I'm trapped in a prison in America, like a country that has been created with poison. What do you do other than to just, again, accept it, swallow whatever feelings you have about it, and you pretend like this is just normal, even though you know that tomorrow or Sunday someone's gonna get picked off somewhere else, and that somewhere else could be here, even in a state like California that doesn't have the gun violence of other states, so to speak. It still happens. Like, I think it was like a week after I moved into my house, some dude got shot in a bar down the street from me. I don't know if he died or not, but it was like, oh my gosh. I think there's a lot of tendencies of people in this country to try to kind of like make sense of why people get shot. Oh, it's gang violence, criminals, fill in the blank, homeless people, delinquents, teenagers, whatever. There's no common denominator. Some of these shooters are crazy. Some of these shooters are sane. Some of these shooters shoot people in ways that we agree with them. Like the Luigi Mangione dude. Like, people rallied behind that guy. I don't fault anyone for trying to make sense of gun violence in the way they make sense of gun violence. I mean, it does bother me that people are making a martyr out of a dude who was pretty adamantly not opposed to gun violence, in that, like, I don't know, maybe that's even unfair to say of Charlie Kirk. Like, he just is a dude who didn't seem to care that this stuff was happening, and he died that way. Yeah, I don't know. People are entitled to feel however they feel about that. Whether they are fans of his and grieve with his family, or, you know, people who hate him and think that he had it coming. I don't really know if there's a right way to grieve the death of someone who you don't know and have no personal connection to, other than whatever parasocial relationship you have with them on the internet, positive or negative. It's still a parasocial relationship because we all know who the guy is. It's 3:00 now. I'm so tired, but like, I don't think I'm gonna sleep tonight. I don't know what to do. What am I supposed to do? Do I move to Ireland? Do I run for Congress? Oh wait, I can't run for Congress because my congresswoman is an heiress. Net worth of $76 million. It's funny because, like, I'll complain about politics to my dad. My dad's just like, just run for Congress, dude. All right, well, how am I supposed to outspend Sarah Jacobs? Where do I come up with $76 million? Yeah, I don't really feel like I have the power to do that. Or I could try to run for Senate in the most populous state in the entire country, a state that is, like, bigger than most countries in the world in terms of, like, population, power, political significance, economy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'm never gonna have that position of public influence to make a difference. Not that even one person having that position is going to make a difference, because how many politicians in America swear that gun violence is an issue and then can't do anything about it or refuse to do anything about it? Maybe I'm just rambling. I don't know. If you're not in the US, I'm very curious what your opinions are on all of this. What would you do if you had the opportunity to leave, but also that opportunity came with leaving everything behind? The idea of leaving all of that behind because of guns. I know on paper that sounds really easy, but it also feels really scary and overwhelming. And obviously that would come with a lot of cost and effort and questions to answer. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess, like, question for any Americans that are here this far, I really am curious. Am I crazy for thinking that this is the biggest one? Maybe it's recency bias. Maybe it's just that this is my first sleepless night due to fear of gun violence. I don't really know. If you think it's not this, what was your Charlie Kirk moment? I think a lot of you will probably say Sandy Hook. It's kind of crazy to think that there's this massive, massive thing that we're all terrified of now that we weren't really afraid of back then. I remember when I was in elementary school, the scariest thing that ever happened in my school was a guy broke into the school one night while no one was on campus and stole, like, a TV. One of those old TVs that got stolen from a school, and that was, like, the big scandal. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened. Our school is so unsafe. Fast forward 20 years, and it's kind of funny to look back at that and think that was scary to us. Thanks for watching, and I don't want to say stay safe. That sounds super paranoid, but I don't know. You know, just one step at a time.